this is Kira Howe reporting from Mohawk College. For the past few years now, the Canadian Centre for Bioethical Reform has been walking the streets trying to get their word out there about anti-abortion, but not many people have agreed with what they have done.
Many people have been taken aback by the graphic posters that are being distributed by the CCBR. Some people have claimed that it is disgusting and should not be seen by the public.
And that it shouldn't be allowed because I'm very sure it's traumatic for the women that have had abortions.
The CCBR have been seen walking around the city of Hamilton holding certain signs and posters.
Revolting pictures of dead babies that were very unappealing.
The CCBR's very own Stephanie Gray had something different to say about the matter.
I grew up in a family in which both my parents were very active in the pro-life movement, and in particular my mom volunteered at a pregnancy help center. So when I was young, I saw the reality of young teenagers being faced with unplanned pregnancies and saw, my mom helping them through their pregnancies. When they gave birth, I'd often go to the hospital with her. And then in my first year of university, I heard a pro-life speaker who said there are more people working full-time to kill babies than there are working full-time to save them. And when I heard those words, I came under the conviction that I needed to work full-time to save Canadian preborn children from legal abortion.
Can you tell us a little bit about your message and how you're reaching the masses through the message?
Yeah, because we are a visual culture that thinks and learns visually, we have communicated the pro-life message in a visual manner, showing that the preborn child is human and that the act of abortion due to its violence is a human rights violation. And we take our very visual message to the public outside high schools with handheld signs, right to people's homes with postcards or hangers that go on doorknobs that have the images of what abortion has done to preborn children. We have a very large truck with billboards on the sides. And all of these are based on a study that we have done of historical social reform movements. So the civil rights movement, the anti-child labor movement are just two examples of movements that used imagery of historical injustices to end those injustices. And so we're using imagery of a present-day injustice to end that injustice.
As for the children that are seeing these photos, well, Stephanie has an answer for that.
Well, what we have found is children see the images and they just see a hurt baby and they want to know who hurt the baby. And what that communicates to us is children have functioning consciences. The real question is, do we? Perhaps some people may find themselves in a situation where they are being reminded by the images that they have aborted the sibling of their child, or they have a relative who has had an abortion. And so seeing these images is reminding them of that, and they don't want to have to be reminded of that. And so sometimes people use their children as an excuse for why they themselves don't want to be confronted with the reality of what is happening to preborn children, namely that they're being dismembered and decapitated.
Stephanie also mentioned about how the graphicness of the photos would help their campaign.
We have seen that graphic imagery of injustice rather than doing harm does a lot of good. And we see that with anti-drinking and driving campaigns, anti-drug campaigns, even anti-smoking campaigns. I mean, our own government has seen the effectiveness of that by having a mandate that warnings be placed in a very visual way on cigarette packages. Other countries have come on board and are starting to do this because they've seen the success in Canada. So we see the same thing happening with abortion imagery. Far from negative effect, the positive effect is people will cease the human rights violation.
So how do you stand? Do you agree with Stephanie or not?